Welcome to the recording for this week's SiftPop. We got a doozy. Welcome to a Sunday afternoon live recording.
Thank you for accommodating me.
Yeah, I think we've got a lot of the kinks worked out of the live presentation. So producer Phil is like madman genius.
Oh yeah,
in the production suite. That's accompanying the lavish studio here at Studio DNA.
You're doing good, Phil. Good work.
So we are going to be chatting about Frozen 2 as well as for this episode. We're going to be chatting also about, I always get it mixed up,
A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood.
Not
Instead
Won't You
of
Be
Won't You Be My Neighbor. That's the documentary.
Not Won't You Be My Neighbor. Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood.
Yeah. I'm right there with you. I get confused as well.
I do too, man. If you're in the chat, feel free to say hello. This is the time to chat with us and let us know that you're there. And we would love to say hey. Let's see. Other than that, I think I'm ready. Andrew, if you're ready, we'll just record the podcast.
Oh, yeah. I'm ready.
Okay. Do you need to count me down, Phil, for the music, or what are you planning?
As far as like getting like a good trim or whatever, you just count down, just do 3, 2, and then you'll say 1, and then I'll cue the music as soon as you get down to 0.
So I cue you.
Yeah. We're trying to get in sync for.
So I'll do my best Bill Murray Groundhog Day in 3, 2.
Or you could do the Wayne's World.
Yeah. All right.
Will you be, Andrew, will you be like any more towards the middle of the table? Or are you...
Do you need me to move?
You might just move that way a little bit. You're kind of on the edge of the screen right now.
Well, yeah, it looks like it could come his way a little bit, but...
That's better.
Okay.
It's not quite centered. We'll figure it all out.
Yeah.
All right, Phil, you want me to count you down?
Yeah.
All right. In 3, 2... Live from a bunker in the heart of the Ozarks, a podcast that would actually rather not build a snowman, thank you very much. It's SiftPop.
Very presumptuous.
Welcome to SiftPop Weekly, streaming live. Most weekends are available to download later in your podcast feed, unless, of course, you're a patron.
Patrons get perks.
Patrons get those perks. I'm your host, Aaron Dicer, and there was no one in the world like my co-host, and I like him just the way he is. It's Andrew Ormsby.
Oh, thank you.
And each week we'll chat about movies, television, and whatever else from the pop culture universe is on our minds.
Hi, buddy.
I'm sorry to be presumptuous. You want to build a snowman?
I do not want to build a
Okay,
snowman.
I thought it was fairly safe with that presumption.
Yeah, I'm saying that the OGs are presumptuous. Hey, let's build a snowman.
Yeah.
Well, I guess they do ask, do you want to build a snowman?
It is a question.
Yeah, it is a question.
It is a question.
I don't want to build a snowman.
Man, boy, am I loving the end of 2019. All the movies coming out, and award season is here, my friend.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert that I love the fact that there are all these movies. I'm not saying I love the movies specifically.
That's
but,
true, yeah.
But I was just thinking, like, this weekend...
We're content heavy.
Yes, exactly, yeah. Which I've also got screeners coming in now.
I know, yeah.
And so those are coming fast and furious, and I'm just like, wow, I'm just like buried in movies.
Yeah.
Which is, honestly, not a bad way to go.
As far as like jobs to have,
right?
We were pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Imagine if we had to work for a living.
Yeah. That has to be horrible.
Well, we appreciate you being here, hanging out with us. We hope you have a fun Thanksgiving planned coming up in less than a week.
I'm gonna eat so much.
Yeah.
Yeah. I it's funny. I just got an alert that my tuxedo is being shipped.
Oh, nice.
And now I'm worried after Thanksgiving I might not fit into it.
Ah, yes.
Because
this is a tuxedo for the awards, right?
Yep.
Yeah, Andrew and I are going to the Critics' Choice Awards together this year.
I'm not gonna lie, dude. I'm gonna look good.
Yeah, you are. I almost said I don't believe it. I don't doubt it.
I got suede shoes.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Are they blue?
No, they're not blue.
No, okay.
My jacket's blue. My tuxedo jacket's blue.
Oh, nice.
Yep. Yeah, I'm gonna look good, man.
I do not doubt it at all. You look good all the time.
Well,
You'll
thank you,
probably
buddy.
look even better all dappered up. It's going to be amazing. That'll be a fun time.
I'm gonna get my hair did.
Really?
Yeah, I'm gonna have somebody else cut my hair.
Wow.
Isn't this crazy?
Yeah.
Just the
it's wild,
sides.
man.
Just the sides.
What about the beard? You gonna trim the beard?
I'm gonna trim the beard the day of.
Okay.
That way I can hairspray it like after I trim it up.
Nice.
And that way I don't look like a rabid hill
Who
person.
knew you were such a fashionista? That's amazing.
Oh, before you knew me, dude, I used to wear like suits every day. I was a
Nice.
Neil Patrick Harris from How I Met Your Mother. That's who I used to be.
Wow.
Yeah, and then
Yeah,
I
not
grew
me.
and then I grew the mustache.
Yeah.
And now you got this Viking dude.
Nice.
Yep.
Hope your Thanksgiving is going to be amazing. We will have some content for your Thanksgiving weekend, but I will be out of town. I'm doing Michigan Thanksgiving this year, so that's going to be
Chilly.
fun. Yeah, it's going to be cold, like it is there in Michigan,
Yep.
apparently. But we're going to have a good time talking about all the movies today.
Oh,
We've
yeah.
got Frozen 2 and A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood.
Won't You Be My
which
Neighbor?
always get messed up. We will be talking about those movies. We'll be answering one of your Sift quests that you have sent us on, as well as our buried treasure. But let's kick it off with some Do We Care?
Every single week, I scour the internet to find out what is going on in the entertainment world. I pick 3 topics for us to discuss, and we must decide, do we care or not? Number 1, Noah Hawley. I
think it's Hawley.
Hawley, okay. Creator of Fargo and Legion is going to be writing and directing Star Trek 4.
Yeah.
The cast, including Pine, Quinto, Peg, and Saldana, are once again going to go where no one has gone before.
It's good. I'm glad this cast is coming back. It's such a perfect cast.
Yeah.
I'm glad to see more Star Trek movies from these guys. I like Noah Hawley. I love Fargo, especially.
Yeah.
The stuff he did with Fargo. Legion, I fell in love with as well eventually, too.
Yeah, it's a bit
so-
trippier than Fargo. Just a bit. Yeah, just a little bit.
A little bit. I know there was a backlash online. Did you see some of the backlash for hiring him? Because like Lucy in the Sky or whatever was a complete dud or failure. It wasn't. You know what? To be fair, I think the backlash wasn't specifically against him. It was kind of a backlash that wanted to draw attention to the fact that if this were a woman or a person of color and they had a big flop like that, they probably wouldn't get a second chance. But, directors are often, especially white guys, given all these chances. I think that was kind of where the backlash was coming from. So, but I did see quite a bit about
People
that.
getting mad on the internet.
Can you imagine?
I know.
It does happen. I for one, like what the stuff that the guy does.
Yeah.
So I'll be curious to see.
Also, just in case people are curious, Tarantino's R-rated Star Trek film is still getting made.
Oh, it is? I thought I saw that he had kind of backed away from that, but
The article I read on Rotten Tomatoes said that that the Tarantino one was still going to get
Nice.
made. Yeah.
well, that's good. I'm glad.
Number 2,
Yep, number 2.
Dwayne Johnson stated during a press conference he was doing for Jumanji, is it next chapter? Jumanji 2, anyway, that Black Adam is going to introduce the Justice Society of America.
The Justist?
Justice Society of America.
Okay. What is that? I don't know. Am I supposed to know this? This is
it's-
a comic thing, isn't it?
Yeah, this is like Golden Age before the Justice League. There was the Justice Society of America in the
Okay.
Golden Age of comics.
Okay.
You had like Power Girl, Dr. Fate, Mysterious Stranger, the original Flash, one of the original Green Lanterns like Hal Jordan. OG Justice League, I'll just say that.
Okay.
Hawkman.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's interesting because here's where you got to be careful, right? Like if you try to introduce too much too quickly, I just it's okay. It's okay to wade in. If we like the material, we'll stick with you for years and years and years. And then you can introduce more periphery characters and more. So it's just like, it's something I love all the announcements and I love Matt Reeves, but I'm really starting to get worried about the new Batman too, because they just keep announcing like villain after villain after villain.
Yeah, they just announced John Turturro as Carmine Falcone.
Yeah, so there's part of me that's just, I don't know. Like, I get leery. You can pull it off, but it raises the level of difficulty, right?
Yeah.
It's like we were talking about Mandalorian, and by the way, I'm falling more and more in love with Mandalorian. The third episode was great.
It was super good.
It was so good.
It's the best episode so far.
Totally agree. Totally agree. Had a real like John Wick vibe to it. It was fascinating.
I love that analogy.
But anyways, we were kind of talking about like the Mandalorian. I was saying I think you're giving yourself a level of difficulty by not allowing your actor to act with facial expressions, right?
Yeah.
But you can still do it, right? And that's the point. Like, you can limit yourself and still have a good movie. Like, you could put all these characters in the Black Adam movie or the Batman movie or whatever and still manage to pull it off. I just think you should do the math, right? Like, you should be like, okay, do I need to make it more difficult on myself? In the case of The Mandalorian, yeah, I guess for the character's sake, you do kind of have to make that choice and make it hard on yourself. For putting all these characters in one movie, man, I don't know. I be patient. Take your time. That's my thing.
Yeah. Well, Matt Reeves is definitely ambitious.
Yeah.
If you say nothing else. I mean, look at the Apes films.
Yeah.
I mean, to go from the joke, I think people have forgotten that the original, like, Planet of the Apes films were, like, laughable.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they were groundbreaking at the time, but they're laughable. And then he modernized it in a way for us to where, like, they're actually, like, esteemed now.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah,
great
totally.
films.
Yeah, totally agree.
Number 3.
Number 3.
The most tragic news of all time: the Victoria's Secret fashion show has been canceled.
Oh man! To answer the question, no, I don't particularly care. Did you ever watch Victoria's Secret fashion show?
I'm not gonna lie, I've never seen a single.
I haven't either.
But it's one of those things. It was a staple of America. We had cheeseburgers, the Victoria's Secret fashion show.
And look, I'm not casting. It's not a casting judgment thing. I just have never been interested. I mean, if I wanted to see women in their underwear, there are other ways to do that in the internet age. Like, you know what I mean?
There was this thing online where I think they said that the ratings had just plummeted over the years, and they attributed it to just the internet. You know, like, you don't have to limit yourself to lingerie or whatever it said.
Right.
Which, obviously that's not what the show's about. It's about, showing off their...
It's about underwear fashion.
Fashion. Yeah, it's about fashion as opposed to, more sexuality than anything.
Sure.
It's about confidence
but
and stuff like that.
It is about fashion that is intended to, play into sexuality, right? Like, I mean, that is part of it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But yeah, it's gone forever. Never coming back. So sorry, everybody.
Don't ever say never coming back. Not in 2019. That's just not a phrase you're allowed to say.
That's true. Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, we could be looking at a Victoria's Secret expanded universe 20 years from now. Who knows?
Whoa, what would that look like?
I don't know.
Yeah, the Skybeam, man. That's going to be the big one. All right. Let's go wrap it up. I was laughing at myself. I'm like, do I really put this into our Do We Care?
Why not?
Yeah. But you know what? That's going to wrap it up for Do We Care.
That is going to wrap it up. All right, let's talk some movies, shall we?
Okay.
Let's kick it off with Frozen 2.
The kingdom is not safe. Find who is calling to you. They may have answers. Go north, across the enchanted lands, and into the unknown.
We do this together, okay?
Be careful. The spirits will challenge you every step of the way.
That's normal.
Olaf. Frozen 2, Elsa the Snow Queen and her sister Anna embark on an adventure far away from the kingdom of Arendelle. They are joined by friends Kristoff, Olaf, and Sven. This, of course, the follow-up to the mega smash hit musical from Disney Animation, Frozen. Such a smash hit that parents all over the world were smashing CDs and digital devices. The songs got played so much.
They had to let it go.
They didn't eventually have to let it go. What do you think? Did you like it, love it, dislike it, hate it, or it was just okay?
I want you to go first.
Do you?
I really do.
I'm on the high side of liked it.
Okay.
Not quite tiptoeing over into loved it, but I really did like it.
I didn't hate it.
Okay.
I'm really close
resounding.
I'm really close to hating it, so really didn't like it.
Like low side of liked it.
I didn't like the first one. Just in case people don't know that, I hate the first one. And
now, did you hate it like the first time you saw it, or did you?
I've only seen it once.
Well, no. What I mean is, like, did you hate it before the backlash, or? Like,
okay. I hated it from moment one.
Okay, right.
I hated it while I was watching it.
That's what I was trying to make sure you were able to say.
Yeah. No.
Well,
I'm not easily swayed by, like, there's been plenty of times, like a couple weeks ago we did Ford versus Ferrari, and everybody's loving that movie, and I'm like, it's just okay. So I'm not easily swayed by opinion, as also shown by our Last Jedi podcast. Whenever honestly, that awkward trip home,
there are plenty of opinions to back both of us up on that one.
No, but I mean, like, remember the drive home? Whenever I thought I was the only one in the world who hated it. Yeah.
Turns out it was just the critics that loved it.
Yeah, exactly.
And in somewhat, part of the population.
Yeah. So, but yeah, definitely this one I hate as well, or not hate. I really
close.
I do like this one more.
That's what I was going to say. It sounds like
one.
You like it more. I definitely like it less than the first one. I love the first one. I think the first one's amazing. Specifically, I'm a musical person.
Yeah.
And so I think that probably has a lot to do with it on both of our sides. Now, certainly there are more positives and negatives that we'll get into.
Yeah.
But just on a baseline level, you give me a musical, if it's competent, I'm going to have a great time.
Yeah.
Because especially if the music's good, I'm going to have fun. Which the music in the first one is so good. And that's why it blew up the way it did.
See, I hate Let It Go. I hate that song.
It's a great
song. I
really
do. I will say Into the Unknown, which is the big one from this one.
Yeah.
I like so much more than Let It Go.
Yeah.
It's super good compared to Let It Go. I will say way too many songs in this one. Like,
I mean, it's the same as the first, I mean, it's a musical.
But I mean, just way too many songs. Like, you had Into the Unknown.
Now, be fair, one song would be way too many songs for you.
No.
Two?
No, like,
how many songs do musicals get? How many songs are musicals allowed to have? 5?
Yeah.
This doesn't have much more than 5.
Oh, it has so many more songs than 5.
Do you think you could name?
Yeah, I have a list here. Into the Unknown, All Is Found, When I'm Older, Farewell Tomorrow, The Next Right Thing.
That's 5.
One of those isn't in the movie, but you didn't know that because there's so many songs.
Yeah, I didn't necessarily feel that way. I did like Into the Unknown. I think that's a good song. I actually liked all the songs in this, although I do feel like this more than the first one. The songs did feel a little more forced.
Yes, that's it.
And in the songs in this one, this is a sequel thing, and I think this movie suffers from a lot of sequel things. But one of them with the music is it had to have its fun Olaf song. Everybody loves summer, in the summer, so we got to give Olaf his fun song, which really didn't have a lot to do with much of anything.
Yeah.
But we got to get it in there. Got to have the Kristoff and Sven song.
I hated that so much.
Okay, I gotta say, I really dug that.
It was so out of place and
agreed, 100% agreed.
In the style like that 80s, power ballad.
Yes, Journey, Chicago, yes, 100% agree. That goes to the forced element, right?
Yeah.
Like I totally agree. It was out of place. I thought it was hilarious. It was one of those things where I was like, okay, fine, you're going there. I'll go along for the ride with you, even though I have qualms about you going there.
Yeah.
And then once I was able to go, once I said, okay, I'll go along for the ride, I had a good time with him.
I should probably preface this, and I shouldn't do this. I really shouldn't do this, but it happened, so I have to be honest about it. I went into this wanting to hate this movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah, just because of my experience with the first one.
Sure.
So I guess you could say I was looking for validations everywhere to why this movie is
That's
bad.
normal, though. We talk about this all the time. Biases are normal. It's okay.
Yeah, but I feel like I should give every single movie its chance.
We try. We try.
And sometimes they can be surprised. Like, I wanted to go into Jumanji: Welcome to the Jungle wanting to hate that movie. I love that movie.
Yeah.
That movie is so much fun, and I am so stoked for the sequel coming out.
Right.
But this one, it was just like I hated the first one, so I wasn't expecting to get my mind blown. So I'm like, okay, there's another reason why I hate it. Yep, that's why I hated the first one. That's why I hated the first one. Yeah. This one...
we call that confirmation bias.
It's
right?
exactly what it is.
It's confirmation bias. It is a normal thing. We all should be aware of it. We all should try to temper it.
Yeah.
But it is normal. I don't fault you for that at all. In fact, I respect you for being willing to wrestle with it, because a lot of people have confirmation bias about all sorts of things that they don't wrestle with. It's just, hey, somebody else is saying the thing that I agree with, and so it must be true. Or, hey, this thing that I previously disliked has changed, but I must still dislike. So no, wrestling with it's good. So I'm glad you brought it up.
Yeah. I'm going to let you start off with some pros, because I don't have that many.
Okay, sure. It's gorgeous. I think this movie, the animation in this movie is absolutely stunning, which, again, it's kind of par for the course now.
That's what I was going to say. That's not to take away that it does look good.
But, man, some of the particle effects on certain water elements that I won't spoil, certain fire elements that I won't spoil, some of the particle effects on that stuff was just kind of mind-blowing to me. So there's specific reasons I bring out the visuals, is that I do think there's some advancement in how they're doing it. And to make that kind of photorealistic environmental stuff mesh with a caricaturized, humanoid stuff, that's not easy, but I think the movie, for the most part, pulls that off. I mentioned I love the music. I don't love it quite as much as I love the soundtrack from the first one, but it might grow on me. The first one, grew on me. We listened, like a lot of families, to the first Frozen a lot. And so I imagine this one will find its way into our rotation as well.
Yeah.
And so we'll see how it continues to grow on me. But I loved that.
Yeah. Have you heard the Panic of the Disco, or At the Disco?
Yeah.
His version of it?
Yeah.
It's super good. He's really good. That guy can sing.
Yeah. It's weird, though.
In what way?
And it's so tonally different than the movie that it's hard for me to handle.
I think it's actually better than the movie's version.
Yeah. I mean, I disagree.
Just because I'm impressed that he can reach those notes.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, man, that guy's got some vocal cords on him.
They play it over the credits, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think it's playing over the credits. And when it came on, I was like, what is this? Stop it now. Like,
really?
Because it was just so jarring. I've since heard it again, and like, if I just took it on its own merits, maybe I'd give it more of a chance. But in the moment, I was like, this is trash. Yeah. Please turn this off. What happened to the beautiful music?
Normally, just so everybody knows, whenever the credits start for a movie, I'll go online on my phone. I'll turn my phone back on and start looking up, like, will there be a post-credit scene and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, spoilers, there is a post-credit scene.
Yes.
But, so I agree with you. Visually, it's very beautiful.
Those were some of the good things, yeah. But the negatives are enough for me that I can't even put it in the. Even though I thought it was beautiful, the visual experience and the music experience was great for me. Story wise, it suffers from a lot of sequel stuff.
This entire movie is exposition.
Yeah,
the entire from beginning to end, it is exposition.
100% agree with you.
Yeah,
it is an expositional film. It is telling you so much story and backstory, and granted, maybe in some fun ways, but it like many things, it just has this tinge of, we're doing it because we have to, we're doing it because we made
so much money, we gotta do it again.
It's under there. You can really feel it in some of the decisions. Story wise, again, I mentioned the song wise, it almost is climactic because of that. It just kind of abruptly.
There's no stakes in this one.
Yeah. I mean, there are, but you don't ever really get a chance to feel them. You don't get to live in them, in the same way.
Yeah.
And again, it's because you have all these characters that you're forced to bring along, and it doesn't feel...
That's actually a really good way of putting it. You're forced to bring them along because they were in the first one.
You have to have Olaf along with you, right? And so now you have to
I was thinking more Kristoff and Sven.
All of them as a team, right? Everybody's got to be there. And so now you have to figure out reasons why they're there, even if it doesn't really make all that much sense. And this movie just... For me, it didn't get to a point where I was rolling my eyes or I was, really distracted by it. I still was able to enjoy what I was, partaking in.
Yeah.
But I was very aware that it didn't feel as authentic as a movie, and it's not. It's just not. It's a sequel, and it just, if you're looking at the needle as it goes from, story reason to cash grab, you could feel the needle, bearing into cash grab a little more, and that's annoying.
There's an element, I'll say, that's characterized that as I was looking at it on the screen, like, that's just to sell toys.
Yeah,
that's just to sell toys. It's served, and then as the movie progressed, I'm like, okay, so it's literally serving no purpose other than to sell toys.
Now, I don't know if it's my love for the first one. But I did get emotional a couple times in this movie. And a lot of it had to do with this movie has an underlying theme of unity, togetherness, putting aside differences. It's very meaningful to me. And there's this moment where a group of people actually sing a song that's from the first movie, but doesn't have that context necessarily in the first movie. And the way it recontextualized that music for me was kind of moving. I kind of felt some stuff there. So,
nice.
So I thought I'd mention that as well.
Yeah.
And also because I don't think we're going to do like a spoiler episode on this because there's not really a lot to necessarily go into.
Oh man, I had so much for the spoiler episode.
Oh, do you? Well, then
that
we'll do
I was
one.
just going to rag on.
Oh.
Yeah. But it was stuff that I actually genuinely had issues with.
Right, yeah,
but we don't need to.
That's fine. We can play it by ear. I just wasn't thinking there was anything necessarily, to talk about that I needed to. But yeah, if you want to.
I'll say this. They need to rein in Elsa's powers for the simple fact that she can get out of every single situation. I never felt like she was ever once in danger. She's pretty much God, with her abilities.
Yeah.
And I think the movie should have, and this is going to be kind of leading into what I was going to go into with spoilers. The first movie was definitely about Elsa. This movie should have been about Anna.
Yeah.
And this is like, if I was making the movie, like, make this movie about Anna, and since she's powerless, make it, a more human story and, like, relatable to, like, what she's trying to, live up to what her sister can do,
Yeah.
As opposed to everybody's there to help Elsa.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
I would totally agree with that. Yeah, it's really interesting to me, too, because... there's a real, how do I don't think I can say this without spoiling it, but I wouldn't have been surprised if I saw Bruce Willis and Mila Jovovich in the cast. Is maybe the roundabout way of saying what I was thinking. But it's like, really, haven't we done this before?
I know exactly what you're saying, and I was thinking the exact same thing.
Yeah.
I guarantee you I was thinking the exact same thing.
Anyhow, anything else you wanted to mention about this before we move on?
There is a post-credit scene.
There is a post-credit scene.
Not worth staying for.
No, I don't think so. I would recommend it, especially for families. I think it's a lot of fun. Take the kiddos out. Good music. I will be listening to the music some more. I'm assuming you would not recommend it.
If you don't like the first one, you won't like this one.
That's a good point.
That.
Yep, that's a good way to say it.
Yeah.
Ready to move on?
Yep.
All right, let's talk about A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood.
Mr. Rogers, I'm here to interview you.
It is so nice to meet you.
You okay?
profiling Mr. Rogers.
Lloyd, please don't ruin my childhood.
This piece will be for an issue about heroes. Do you consider yourself a hero?
We are trying to give the world positive ways of dealing with their feelings.
Yeah? Like what?
There are many things you can do. You can play all the lowest keys on a piano.
A journalist's life is enriched by friendship when he takes on an assignment profiling Fred Rogers based on the real-life friendship between journalist Tom Junod and television star Fred Rogers, or as we all know him, Mr. Rogers. Did you watch Mr. Rogers?
Oh, yeah.
Growing up, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood?
PBS, it was on as soon as I got home. I would watch Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, then I would watch Rugrats, and then The Simpsons.
Oh,
yeah.
It's like a nice little progression through like growing up.
Exactly, yeah.
It's like childhood, early adolescence, adolescence. Well, this is after the documentary last year.
Won't You Be My Neighbor?
Won't You Be My Neighbor? And now we get another kind of look into Fred Rogers' life. Tom Hanks, of course, playing Mr. Rogers.
A very specific moment in time.
Yeah, and I think that's worth saying. This is different than the documentary. The documentary is very much about Mr. Rogers and kind of where he came from and who he was. This Mr. Rogers is almost the setting of the movie.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, because the main character is Matthew Rhys, right? Lloyd Vogel in the movie.
Yeah, it's all about the effect that Mr. Rogers has on him as opposed to, you know, being about Mr. Rogers.
Susan Kalichi Watson, who you know from, This Is Us, stars in this as well. Chris Cooper, Enrico Colantoni. In it as well. What did you think? Did you like it? Love it? Dislike it? Hate it? Or was it just okay?
I absolutely loved this movie.
Absolutely loved.
Yes.
Yeah, me too. This will be in my top 10, maybe top 5 of the year.
It is for me. It's number 4 right now.
It's really incredible film. So, you know, you had a movie that you didn't much enjoy to start off with. So why don't you run with some of the things that you love about Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood?
You know what? I was going into this award season thinking there's no way anybody is going to beat Joaquin Phoenix.
Uh-huh.
And then I saw Tom Hanks as Mr. Rogers, and he was Mr. Rogers.
I'm laughing because what a dichotomy!
The most dark and cynical, evil character in comic book history versus literally the most nicest honored, person of all time.
Yeah. What a dichotomy!
But he became Fred Rogers.
But it's not an impression, right?
No,
like he's not doing some sort of impression. He just is embodying
the genuine kindness that guy just exudes.
And the patience of the way he talks and the space that he gives. The feeling that he is always talking directly to you. Mr. Rogers was so good at that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. You hit the nail on the head when you said the patience. Because if you go back and you watch old Mr. Rogers, he is so slow and methodical. He never, said an entire sentence just from beginning to end. He always broke it up so you could digest it slowly, and that's exactly what Tom Hanks is doing here. Oh,
yeah, it's a beautiful performance.
So
it really is a beautiful performance.
Calming. This movie is beyond emotional for me.
Yeah,
not on a nostalgic level, but you can find little bits and pieces to relate to Matt Reese's character here. Maybe not on what the main struggle for him is, but you can definitely we all have issues, and just like the real Fred Rogers, Tom Hanks just is able to transition to where yes, he's talking to Matt Reese's character, but he's talking to you too.
Yeah,
just like he did in the show,
right?
Yeah. I'll say this: there's a moment in the movie where for an entire minute, nobody says a word. I was crying my eyes out. Oh, it's just so powerful. I cried several times in this
Well,
movie.
there's a subway scene that I cried at.
I cried in the subway scene too. Yeah.
as well. And what's interesting about that subway scene, without spoiling anything, is in different hands, it could have been very cheesy, very treacly.
But genuine. It seems so genuine.
It does. It feels genuine, and I do think a lot of that has to do with the skill of putting this movie together. Marielle Heller.
I was about to say Marielle Heller. I forgot what her last name was, but yeah, she does an amazing job directing this.
Yeah. Did you see Can You Ever Forgive Me last year?
No, that's the
Will You Ever
Melissa
Forgive Me?
McCarthy movie, right?
Yeah.
I have it. I just haven't seen it yet.
I thought it was great. I enjoyed it. And I really think she's one to watch. Diary of a Teenage Girl, I think, was the other one she's directed.
Alexander Skarsgård, Kristen Wiig movie. And it also had, what's her name from the young actress girl. I forget her name.
Young actress girl. I'm
Yeah.
sure that's what she has on her business cards.
And the Academy Award goes to young actress girl.
Yeah, I think she's really talented, and I'm excited to see what else she does. But
the way she shoots landscapes in this movie, I don't think it's a spoiler to talk about, but all like the landmark shots and stuff like for cities and stuff, they're all the miniaturized versions like they used to be in Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood.
Yeah,
and for me,
I wasn't prepared for that. I wasn't prepared for how clever they were going to be with the structure of this movie. I thought it was going to be pretty straightforward. And again, I tap Heller for a lot of this. It's perfect. It's so perfect because it allows you to experience what's going on in a contextualized way, and so you're invested in it.
I took it as a metaphor for how Mr. Rogers, just the being was his fingerprints could be felt everywhere,
right,
in the real world and as well as on his show.
Right. I think you were talking about Belle Powley, in Diary of a Teenage Girl. So I wanted to get that out there.
Yep. Young actress girl.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Yag.
Congratulations, Yag.
What else? Anything else you wanted to?
What did you think of Matt Reese?
I thought he was
very
great.
subtle, but really good.
I think what's fascinating about this story, and again, it's based on a true story, and if you've heard the journalist talk about this experience, it's really fascinating. Because he did kind of go in wanting to find the cracks,
the gotcha,
the maybe even not the extreme gotcha, but just let me tell you what's really going on here.
Yeah.
This is what you see on the screen isn't what happens when and instead he found out, this guy is just like that.
Yeah.
Not only is he like that, he's having an impact on my life because he's like that.
Yeah, because it affects Matt Reese that somebody who. He's upset that people, especially Mr. Fred Rogers, aren't bothered by the world the same way he is.
Right.
And he kind of takes it out initially on Fred, like, you need to be upset about what's going on. And Fred's just like, no, I don't have to. And you don't have to either.
Yeah.
And there are just so many moments in this movie where Fred just is showing like genuine care. Like he remembers people's names. He remembers, what's going on in their life.
Yeah.
Tom Hanks is so good. He just makes me smile thinking about his performance.
Yeah, it's great. So I'm just sitting there thinking, okay, this guy is going into this situation looking for, confirmation bias, like we talked about earlier,
exactly.
And he's not finding it. And for Matthew Reese to be able to play the transition of going from hardened, cynical, this just isn't how the world is, to actually, there are moments where you're watching him try, he almost has to try to get that cynicism back up and throw it at Mr. Like, it's like he's feeling it being diffused, and he's like, no, like I have to. It's a great performance. One particular scene and it's with fascinating. Puppets. Yeah. There's this fascinating thing, and I think he portrays it very well. Of just like, I don't want you to be right. Like, I like my cynicism. I like my
it's
stuff.
Who I am.
It's who I am. And if you change me, how will I know who I am? And I have to admit I was wrong. Like, it's a very human thing, and you could just feel it in his performance, and just the patience of Fred Rogers or Tom Hanks in the performance to just allow that to happen and to sit in it and to have that space. And it's just, there's a beautiful thing that he is able to do that I just want in my my toolkit, which is to be able to say the cheesiest things and mean them. You know what I mean? Like, that's who I want to be. Like, to be able, I think we have this surface level thing where, authenticity and reality is when you make fun of someone or you jab, even friends, like, that's the reality, you jab our friends or whatever. And I'm not trying to be judgmental about that at all, but there is another side to that, right? Like, that's okay. I think that's okay. But if you're also not having the moments where it's like, hey, I really like you just the way you are, just as Mr. Rogers would say. Like, I think we all need to be able to say those things and mean them. And this movie just kind of brings it out. So it's kind of like our intros. Like, when I say all the great stuff about you in our intros, you can take that as a joke, but I mean it. It's really coming from my heart. And that's the skill set I want, is to be able to say things that may feel cheesy, but that come across as authentic. So, anyways.
You are the reincarnation of Fred Rogers.
I'm Mr. Rogers if he liked the occasional dirty pun. Like, it's probably more of that's who I want to be. That's who I aspire to be.
That's if you had to pick somebody to aspire to be, I think Fred Rogers is a really good choice.
What about negatives? Do we have any?
There is a sequence in this movie, and it all just boils down to this one sequence of lucidness where it was a little too confusing to know when that sequence ended and then when, like, quote-unquote reality started back up again.
Yeah, the structure, the beautiful structure that we talked about has a few moments in the movie where it kind of gets a little full of itself. The structure becomes king instead of the story. I can remember two specific moments thinking, okay, I get what you're doing here, but I don't know that this serves the story in the way that I'm feeling it. So neither of those cases were bad. It was just, but I feel what you're saying. There were moments where I was like, okay, this is maybe a little too clever for its own good.
We haven't talked about Chris Cooper, how good he is. He's really good in this.
He's really good in this, and he's good because he's having to portray a father who is, grew up to become a man that is not very good with relationships, is not, has...
the antithesis of Fred.
Well, it has, abusive issues, those kind of things. But also portray something changing in him too, because what makes the story again beautiful, and you see this in relationships, especially parent-child relationships, when somebody has been horrible to you for so long, you almost don't want them to change. You don't want them to, because then you have to forgive them, and you don't want to forgive them. You know what I mean? And what's beautiful about this is, I think it says forgiveness is powerful whether you want it or they want it, or you don't want it, or they don't want it. It doesn't matter. Forgiveness is always powerful, I thought that was a great performance.
And watching that relationship between Chris Cooper and Matt Reese spill over into his home life with his own, newborn kid and his wife and everything. All of this compiled on a story about Fred Rogers. I shouldn't say that, because it's not about Fred.
It really isn't. It's fascinating, and it is one of those moments where I'm like, sometimes they the category fraud in the award season where it's like, well, let's put them in supporting, even though they are in most of this movie. This is a supporting performance, like it is there to support Matthew Rhys's performance and the story of him. So I think Tom will compete in
sorry,
supporting.
Brad Pitt, another year where you're not going to win.
Well, I think those two will be like you said, Joaquin. I don't think Joaquin and they'll be in different categories. Joaquin will be in Best Actor, but I think Hanks and Pitt will be battling for Best Supporting.
Maybe it was just in my head. I just subconsciously like Tom Hanks was the standout for me. So
when we do our awards, we don't differentiate between supporting and lead.
Yeah.
So Tom will be battling Joaquin in our awards because that's the way we do it.
Yep.
Anything else?
No post-credit scene.
No post-credit scene. I don't think I have really anything else to say either, other than boy, I know he was human, and it's always dangerous to put people too high on a pedestal. But man, what a life Fred Rogers lived,
There's a great moment where his wife is talking to Matt Rhys, and she says, I don't like when people call him a saint because then it makes it seem like what he does is unobtainable. Isn't
that great?
It's a great line.
Isn't that great?
It's a great line, man.
And we do that. When we see somebody and we think we could never be like them, we put them on this thing. Well, they must just be different than me. And we eliminate our own responsibility in our actions in some ways. I thought that was beautiful as well. But what an amazing dude. And I'm glad this movie exists. So.
He needs a posthumous Nobel Peace Prize.
Huge recommend, I think, from both of us.
I said, this is my number 4 movie of the year, so
it will definitely be up there for me as well. All right, before we move on to our Sift Quest for the day, I want to give a huge shout out and thank you to the SiftPop members. You are the reason we can do this podcast, the reason we can do it live on YouTube. Recently purchased some new equipment, some lights and cameras and different things to be able to do this. And that was straight from the money that you give to SiftPop to do this, allowing us to go see these movies. Producer Phil and Andrew both have the opportunity to go see movies because of your support. So thank you for doing that. We appreciate that. Myself as well, I should say. I didn't mean to leave myself out of there. We do really appreciate the support. Again, if you want to go to patreon.com/SiftPop, it starts at $3 a month. There's some other fun perks there as well. We try to treat our members well. But thank you for being a SiftPop member. You make this happen. All right, let's do the Sift Quest.
Yeah.
Pretty simple one. It was originally slated for a couple weeks ago when Disney Plus launched, or I guess just a week. No, it was 2 weeks ago that Disney Plus launched, right?
Which, now that I think about it, I'm glad that we waited to talk about this.
Yeah, it's kind of giving us a little time to live in it. But the question is, hey, guys, we have to get your initial thoughts on the Disney Plus / Apple Plus streaming launches. What do you think? What's your favorite thing on the services? Thank you. What do you think, Andrew? I'll let you start.
Initially, I'm surprised by how much I'm liking Apple Plus.
Yeah.
Or is it Apple Plus?
Apple TV Plus, TV, maybe?
Yeah.
There's definitely a plus in there somewhere.
Yeah. Because I know Disney Plus, and I don't know if Apple Plus.
I think it's Apple TV Plus, technically.
Yeah. I'm surprised by how much I'm liking the content on there. I recently did start the morning show, which is great. I've been a big...
And it gets better and better.
Yeah.
I've seen every episode. It's great.
Yeah. I really do like C. I think C is very good.
Yeah.
It's just different from every other show out there right now. So I'm surprised by that. And then you have Disney, which is honestly, when I first got it, the first thing I did obviously was watch The Mandalorian, Mm-hmm. And then I went and I started watching like all the movies that I hadn't seen.
Yeah.
But now it just feels like so much that I'm really not going on Disney Plus.
No, it's too much.
It might be not that it's too much. Yeah. But like it just feels like I now have everything. And I don't feel a need, like I'm rushed to see everything.
Sure.
So I've been spending a lot more time on Apple TV Plus.
Yeah. Well, I think what you realize with these streaming services, content libraries are important. They're valuable. And the Disney one is beyond reproach or approach. Like nobody has the content that they have.
I'm assuming you have the big bundle.
No.
Oh.
I bought 3 years of Disney Plus for like $3 a month.
Okay,
so
and that's just the basic.
Yeah, I ended up paying like $90 for 3 years.
Nice.
So we've got it for the next 3 years. But when I go on, I am pleased with everything that's available to me content wise. But I'm not necessarily going there to watch Bed Knobs and Broomsticks. You know what I mean? Like I'm not going there to watch whatever the Shaggy DA or, just these, Apple Dumpling Gang, like Flight of the Navigator, just these
20,000 Leagues Under the Sea or
just
Swiss
these
Family
classics,
Robinson.
right? Like, and you look at it and you go, oh, I love that. But I have watched some of that stuff, just because it's there. But what I'm going there for is the new stuff. And that's because that's my mindset. It has a lot to do with my job and what I do. New content is more, people are more interested in it, more interested in hearing opinions on it.
Well, we're not going to do a Sift quest on a Sift spoil on Bed Knobs and Broomsticks.
There's a place for a podcast like that. Don't get me wrong. There's a place for a podcast that
not ours.
Scratches the nostalgia itch of all the stuff that's on there. But I think what you start to realize is original content is where it's at. Now, there is more than just Mandalorian for me. I am loving Encore on Disney Plus.
I knew you were going to love Encore.
I as soon as a new one's out, I watch it before I watch the new Mandalorian.
Really?
That's how much I love it. But that, again, the musical thing,
I was going to say,
scratches an itch for me.
As soon as I saw, I was like, ooh, Kristen Wiig has a new show. And then I read what it was about. I'm like,
Kristen Bell. But
what did I say?
Kristen Wiig.
Yeah, definitely not her. Yeah, Kristen Bell. As soon as I saw it, I'm like, ooh, what's this show? And then I read the premise, and I'm like, oh, never mind.
You know what I wasn't expecting from it that I love is how awkward it is. Like it's, just the awkwardness of high school reunions in general.
Now you got to sing with them.
It's that every week. It's a different kind of, hey, haven't seen you in 20 years. Remember that one time we made out behind the bleachers? Like that whole thing. And add to that, it's adults kind of going back into their youth and performing. So the last one was Sound of Music, and these 40-year-olds are playing the Von Trapp children. It's just but it's fascinating to me. So, and there's that part of that happens with a lot of stuff. There's that part of where it's like, I want to do this. I would love to, hang out with my old high. So there's that, wish fulfillment part of it that seems fascinating
Now
to me.
About that, I really want. Is it Lily, the youngest one, who's the Von Trapp? The youngest.
I don't remember.
Yeah. But I just in my head, I don't know why, but I wanted her to end up being a chain smoker. So when she came back, so long, farewell,
goodbye. It's so bad. Some of the singing is so bad. Like you can tell these are not professionals.
Yeah.
And
so who are they performing for? Are they
friends, family, and then also the community. Okay. So, and it's a pretty packed out house, when they perform. So So I like that show. I didn't quite. I dug the Jeff Goldblum show, but not enough to really go back to it.
He's just a weird dude.
He is, and he can make anything like curiously fun. Like I watched the Sneaker episode, which is the first episode.
Yeah.
And it was fun, but I'm not excited to see more of that show.
No, it's like an appetizer in between your big events. Like, ooh, there's a new Mandalorian. Oh, I got nothing to watch for 3 days. I'll throw on the Jeff Goldblum or World. Is it the World According to Jeff Goldblum?
Yes, World According. It's a National Geographic property. Yeah. It's in that section of the Disney Plus.
I'll tell you what I have been watching. Since I did get the bundle. I've been going to ESPN. And I've been catching up on all my 30 for 30s. That's really like out of all the Disney content I watched the most. The 30 for 30s is really where I'm spending a lot of my time.
Yeah, I get that actually. That would be a lot of fun. They put some really good docs out on ESPN. There's an Imagineering show that I find interesting. Speaking of kind of documentaries, it kind of documents Walt Disney's different ideas in creating the theme parks and different things, and some kind of the fun stuff that they did. That's been a fun, new series. Other than that, it's nice to have a place where all that content is 4K, HDR, just ready to look gorgeous on my television. The fact that I could do a Star Wars marathon and every single movie is in 4K HDR, like that's, I should say everyone except for Last Jedi, which isn't on there yet. I think it'll be on there in a couple months, but
yeah, they have a licensing deal still with Netflix.
So there are some of the more recent, like Incredibles 2 isn't on there yet. You know, just some of the more recent movies have to kind of outlive the licensing deal with Netflix.
If you have, what was the first Marvel movie you went back and watched?
The first Marvel?
Like after you got Disney Plus, like did you go back?
I fired up Endgame.
Endgame, that's the very first one you watched?
Yeah, to see Endgame.
Nice.
But yeah.
I watched the original Thor.
Oh.
Yeah. I like it. He loves those Dutch angles, that's for sure.
Now, here's the other part of this. Apple TV Plus is all original content. Like they don't have a content library, you know? So a morning show is great. I'm one episode from finishing the Shyamalan show.
Shyamalama Ding Dong Show?
Which doesn't technically come out for another 4 days.
Yeah.
I should mention it just in case.
You got the press pass.
Yeah, they sent me the press link. That's why I've been able to see this stuff. Not really interested enough in the others to take time for them, though. The only one I kind of was the moon landing one, the alternate moon landing history, but I just haven't taken time for it. C, you're starting to pique my curiosity, but
I'm digging it, man.
I don't know. It didn't appeal to me. It didn't seem to appeal to me.
Yeah.
So, you know, if I had Apple TV Plus service, I don't know that I'd ever turn it on. Like,
really?
Yeah. Like, what am I going there for?
I guess because I'm loving C so much and the morning show. If you get two good shows on a network for me, I'll tune in.
Sure. No, that makes sense.
Yeah. Now, once those shows are done, if they're like one and dones or if there's going to be more seasons, I don't know if I would re-up my Apple subscription. That's another thing we should mention. You got a press link for free.
Yeah.
And I got a year for free because I bought an Apple product. I guess my iPhone.
I wonder how many people are actually paying for the service.
Yeah. That's, I mean, it's the thing, like, after.
Because Disney released their numbers. They said first day, 10 million people signed up.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah. I think Netflix, last I heard, was at like 140.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's fascinating. It'll be fascinating to see. You know, we've got next year. We've got the new HBO service, HBO Max, I think is what they're calling it.
Which will have.
It'll have all the Turner stuff. You know, all the Warner Turner stuff.
And DC Universe. That's the big one. That
Warner, Turner, DC, all that stuff. You know that they own, and then the Peacock, the Universal one,
which I won't get.
So I don't know. It'll be fascinating to see kind of how this all shakes down. I can't imagine the Peacock has much of a chance. The only thing I would think about the Peacock is, again, they've got a huge content library, right? Like Universal has been making movies for a long time, so
yeah.
You know, I don't know.
Yeah,
it's going to be fascinating, but for now, I'm enjoying it. Yeah. I like it. It's the way TV should be now. It's the way I've interacted with TV for years.
Although I did crunch the numbers. I did addition. I think I'm paying just as much as I did for, you know, like a.
How much do you want to be paying? Like, what would be the number?
I'm paying like over $50 a month now.
Sure, but what would be the number if somebody said, "Hey, every piece of content, visual content that's made, you're going to have access to it.
Everything?
Everything." What would be the number that you would be willing to pay for that?
80.
Mine's 100. Mine's 99. I'd give you $99 a month, and I just know
literally everything.
Just know if somebody's making it, I can watch it.
Yeah.
Right. So when you piece them together,
we're getting close to pretty much everything.
Right. Yeah. So I don't know. It might work out to be about that. But
and you know, whenever you think of like a dish subscription, just picking that one, it's all pretty much like you have to watch it like either when it airs or after it airs, you record it. Whereas like this, the library is there with you forever. You can watch anything on that library.
Yeah.
So I guess it does have that benefit as well. So take that, TiVo.
Well, thank you for the question. We appreciate it. If you have a SIF quest that you would like to send us on, just hit us up, feedback@siftpop.com. We would love to answer your question. It can be about anything. Just let us know, feedback@siftpop.com. All right, let's finish it out with our buried treasure. Andrew, who goes first?
I'll let you go first.
Netflix sent me out to LA again.
Yeah, they did.
To see The Two Popes, and it also will be in my top 5 movies of the year, probably.
Oh, Anthony Hopkins.
This movie is such a Dicer movie. Like, this is
a musical?
Yes, you didn't know that?
No.
No, in this case, what I mean by that is the way that it wrestles with issues of religion, philosophy, the idea of the Catholic Church, understanding, instead of, I don't know, it's kind of hard to put into words, but these two popes arguing over what the church should be to people. Should it be, a place that excludes people because of what they believe, or should it be a place that feeds people and, clothes people? And I think you know where I land on all of this stuff. And pretty much what I heard.
Power to the power.
Yeah. So
not the people. Yeah.
So it's fascinating to watch, and it's also fascinating because of how I don't know, kind of the peek into the Catholic system of choosing the Pope I found interesting and fascinating. The performances, Anthony Hopkins, of course, is amazing. He's great in this. Jonathan Pryce is also amazing in this. I really enjoyed this movie. It's really resonated with me.
I barely know anything about this. Is it based on like a actual historical popes?
Yes.
So
100%.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I know who's our current pope right now?
I'm not sure.
Yeah. But I know that the pope before him...
But it's the one that Jonathan Pryce is playing. Yeah. And Anthony Hopkins is playing the one before him. Yeah,
because I know the one that Anthony Hopkins is the only pope to ever retire.
Yes, and and that's in the movie. They talk about it in the movie, and it kind of... I don't want to give a ton away, even though it's kind of historical fact, but it's fun, interesting, I should say. Fun is fine to experience it and kind of get a look into, these men and kind of what they were thinking and what they were going through. And you really do get the sense, I guess I'll just give away this, but you really do get the sense that the former Pope retired because he realized his view on things was not helping the church. Yeah. And there also was the scandal part of it as well that was
Nazi
weighing on him
thing.
As well. Well, I think more with priests abusing children and and covering it up and just putting them in new parishes instead of actually dealing with that kind of stuff. So yeah, man, the movie's good. Movie's really good.
Two popes.
The director, by the way, whose name is slipping my mind, but the same guy that directed Children of God.
Wait, Children of God or City of God?
City of God. Sorry.
Yeah, that's I know that. I should know that.
I should know it too because I stood there and talked to him for like 15 minutes, and it was one of the greatest conversations.
Fernando Morales.
Yes. Really enjoyed that conversation. He is very passionate about what he does. Here's the thing I haven't said about The Two Popes that I want to make sure you hear me say. It is hilarious. This is a really funny movie. Now you would
intentionally funny?
Yes, intentionally funny. Great sense of humor here, and the humor feeds the story so well. So, I wanted to make sure I mentioned that because you can look at a movie like this and a lot of times feel, oh yeah, I'm sure it's great, but I'm just going to sit there and hear philosophy and but man, it's really well done all around.
Pope Benedict and Pope Francis.
Correct, which are not their real names; they're their pope names.
Yeah.
So.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Which I found was interesting. You get a new name when you become pope.
Right.
Yeah,
that's right. You do.
They should do that with presidents.
You have a few ideas.
Yeah.
What do you got, Andrew?
I think I may have had this as a buried treasure before, but if I did, it was a while ago. It's a game that came out in 2018, and I've recently just started replaying it, and it's reinforcing what I believe about it. And the game is God of War. This it's an old franchise going back to the original PlayStation. If you don't know what it's about a man named Kratos who it all takes place within the Greek pantheon of mythology. He eventually kills Ares and he becomes the new god of war. And then throughout the saga, he eventually kills the entire Greek pantheon, Zeus, everybody. But this new game, which is still called God of War, not God of War 4, he leaves Greece and he goes to Scandinavia and he starts a family. He just wants to live his own life. But then the Norse gods find out that he's there. And it sounds like it's a pretty, outlandish and extreme game. This might be narratively the best story in a game ever, because this entire game is about a father and a son trying to understand one another. And it's about his new son Atreus and him having to bury or spread the ashes of the mother. The game starts with them burning their mother, which we never meet. And it's all about them taking her ashes to where she wanted them spread. And just how this game is like from where it starts with your relationship between Kratos and Atreus and how they don't know each other really and they don't, even like each other, to where the game ends. Narratively, this is like Oscar-worthy storytelling, and I'm not exaggerating there. It's phenomenal. It is literally in like the top greatest games ever made.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Very bloody though.
I heard great things. Not a gamer, so
Yeah.
I haven't checked it out.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I think you would only need to like get a synopsis of like the other God of War games before you jump into this one, because this one barely deals with what happens before.
So you can pick it up pretty easily.
Yeah, and you can follow as long as you understand that Kratos was the Greek God of War. That's all you need to
That's
understand.
all you need to know.
And that he left.
Very nice.
Yep.
Well, there you go. We did it, man.
Yeah, we did.
We went into the unknown and came back with a podcast.
Yeah, we did.
It happened.
We rode that trolley all the way around.
Ding, ding. Thank you so much for joining us today for SiftPop. It is part of the Studio DNA podcast network. You can find out more about other shows on the network at studiodna.media or by searching Studio DNA in your podcast player. Huge thanks to Andrew for hanging out.
Thank you, buddy.
Big thanks to producer Phil.
Thanks, Phil.
Now in the other room. Appreciate Phil doing all he does as well. Much love and gratitude to our SiftPop members for giving monthly to make SiftPop a real thing. Support starts at $3 a month. Get access to every bonus episode. I think we're going to talk about some nostalgia for our bonus episode this week. So, but you can hear all those bonus episodes as well as some other fun perks by becoming a SiftPop member. Find out more at patreon.com/SiftPop. Lots of ways to connect with us. Feel free to comment, rate, leave a review at Apple Podcasts, or you can email us feedback@siftpop.com. And finally, if you're having a good time, your movie-loving friends will probably like the show too, so make sure you let them know about it, and that listening is much easier than riding a literal seahorse. We will be we'll go ahead and do some spoilers if you want to.
Do you think there's really anything we could...
No, I'm good. Maybe we don't. But we're going to record a Knives Out podcast for our Thanksgiving episode. So we will see you next week for that.
Bye.
All righty.
I haven't seen it, by the way.
Oh, you haven't seen Knives Out?
The screening that was the one you were talking about, it was sold out.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Bummer.
Yeah. That's all right, though. Unless you think like you don't even want to talk about it, but
no, we need to record something.
Yeah.
But thank you for watching live as well, guys.
Yeah.
Josh in the comments wants to know if we've seen Jojo Rabbit yet. I have not.
It's out now here.
Is it?
Yeah.
Is it at Alamo?
Yes.
Okay. So apparently it's showing in town now.
Yep.
Hopefully I'll get a screener because I don't like the Alamo. Bunch of snobs, bunch of movie snobs. I'm just kidding, Alamo. I love you. You're amazing.
Yeah. I love
I just already subscribed to the AMC thing, so
yeah,
that's easier to go see AMC. Let's see what else. Major Links giving some props in the chat.
Well, thank you.
And Jay Bourgeois as well, hanging out in there.
Jay Bourgeois.
Thank you guys.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming and hanging out. We'll catch you next time.
Happy
Bye.
Thanksgiving.
Whichever camera. Bye. We love you. Bye. Cut it, Phil. It's time to go. Bye.